Hi everyone, this is Boomer for Caravel Gaming, and in the first of what I hope to be a few videos that I'm going to be producing for the site, we're going to be looking at quote-unquote learning the hard way. Now, unlike Ribbo's Arena videos, which are going to be mainly live, I feel like my current expertise with Hearthstone is very much on a learning curve rather than someone who's an expert at it. So therefore, I feel that my role would probably be best on looking back retroactively on certain arenas that I've played and looking at certain plays that I made, looking at certain matchups where I could have done things differently. Now, for the first one of these, I'm going to be flying solo on a Paladin run I did recently. However, in the future, I am going to try and get either Ribbo or Lee or Maddy or whoever else wants to be involved to try and have someone to bounce ideas off. For the moment, what I've done is I've got a record of the arena because I didn't actually record the draft. Now, this arena was one that went very, very well for me. In fact, I was very disappointed that, spoiler alert, I didn't 12 win it. However, there were a couple of things. I don't think the actual draft itself is too interesting, but there are certain places where I made definite mistakes when I was playing, not knowing what my cards did off by heart kind of hurt me on a couple of occasions, although it didn't result in a game loss, but it was fairly stupid. But it did let me in on just how tempo-based this game is. I'm, as you probably know, from a Magic the Gathering background, and in that sort of area, what happens is that your opponent can very often sort of top deck nothing, so tempo can very often switch just naturally because your opponent top decks a couple of land in a row or something like that. In Hearthstone, that doesn't happen. Tempo is a lot harder to get to swing back your way. Simply clearing the board doesn't help, and this is one of the things I was actually a little bit worried about with this deck, but it didn't really come to the fore. So we're going to look at a couple of picks here. First off, I get my rare pick. It's Pint-Sized Summoner, Mana Addict, and Young Priestess. Mana Addict's pretty much unplayable. Young Priestess isn't too much better, so really I'm left with the Summoner, which, as you'll see as we go through the arena, if it's not respected by your opponents, several very stupid things can actually happen with it. Second pick, again, two very average 1-drops and Senjin Shieldmaster, so that was easy. Third pick, Consecrate and two pretty bad cards, so very easy. Again, as I said, there weren't too many picks that were that interesting. Pick 4 here. I'm on the commons. We have Scarlet Crusader, a Magma Rager. This draft really wanted me to take Magma Ragers, and Senjin Shieldmaster. I decided to take the Crusader. I think that it and the Shieldmaster are about on the same power level. Shieldmaster may be slightly better, but the overriding factor for me was that Paladin has a lot of cards at 4 that you're going to want to play. I'm thinking of True Silver Champion, Consecration, Blessing of Kings, as well as things like Dark Iron Dwarf and Chillwind Yeti, which are obviously above Senjin Shieldmaster anyway. So I felt like I didn't want to overload the deck on 4s too much, and I already had a Senjin Shieldmaster anyway, so I picked up the Scarlet Crusader. Fifth pick, I get offered another Consecration, so this is pretty much where this arena is going, and you can pretty much see why I did fairly well in it. I wouldn't have been unhappy with the Ogre Magi, but Consecration's obviously fine. Crocalist, Hand of Protection, and Shield Bearer. I am aware that you need 2-drops in a deck such as this, so therefore I decided to take the Crocalist over the Hand of Protection. If I had a little bit more knowledge about my deck at the time, Hand of Protection definitely could have been in the deck, or if I'd picked up you know, several early drops already and sort of Divine Shield was going to be a really big thing, then I would have picked up the Hand of Protection. 7, again, two pretty bad cards, and Guardian of Kings is always nice to have. And the first really sort of, I wouldn't say controversial pick here, Goldshift Footman's obviously completely out because it's awful, but we have Cult Master and Blessing of Kings. When I put this draft, or this arena draft, into this website, Arena Mastery, Cult Master was the higher tier card. For Paladin, you can certainly see why that happens. The ability to just produce 1/1s and throw them at your enemy and draw cards. Cult Master can basically be the equivalent, I believe I mentioned on the podcast, it's the equivalent of the Hunter's Buzzard Unleash the Hounds. So, obviously a very powerful card, but I've always been like a huge fan of Blessing of Kings, and the only way it really becomes a bad card is if you play it proactively and your opponent silences or kills your guy in 2-for-1s. Usually at worst you're going to get a 2-for-2 on it. And often, if you put it on a Divine Shield guy like Scarlet Crusader that we picked up earlier, that can pretty much be game breaking. I know that I've lost a few games in Arena just simply to my opponent going, Argent Protector my guy, Blessing of Kings my guy, smack you in the face on a few occasions. Pick here's Harvest Golem, I think fairly simple pick. And then we get the fun pick at number 10. We get Ragnaros, Cairn, and Captain Greenskin. Definitely tempted by the Cairn because obviously he's really good, but Ragnaros is just Ragnaros. So we'll pick him up. 11th pick at we've got Frost Elemental and 2 meh 1-drops. So we'll take the Frost Elemental. 12th pick we've got Razorfen Hunter, Wolf Rider, and Worgen Infiltrator. Was very tempted by all the cards really because they all perform different functions. You know, Razorfen Hunter puts multiple bodies out there if you've got multiple Blessing of Kings or Blessing of Might or something like that. Wolf Rider's pretty much a removal spell, and obviously Worgen Infiltrator fulfills a very similar role to Wolf Rider, except for the fact it costs 1 rather than 3. So really for me it was between Worgen Infiltrator and Razorfen Hunter. Decided to take the Infiltrator here, but I'd like to get your guys' opinion on that because I think that could be a little bit up in the air. Opened some epics and went for the Blood Knight because, well, I'm a Pally, I should have some Divine Shield cards, and I can certainly look to pick up a few Divine Shield cards later on. Because I'm probably going to be gaining some life as a Pally, I already have a Guardian of Kings. If I could pick up True Silvers, same deal. Molten Giant isn't really that great for me. Big Game Hunter's fine, but I think Blood Knight's just a little bit better. Fairy Dragon against 2 fairly average cards. So pick up Fairy Dragon. I love Fairy Dragon. I think it's great. 15, True Silver Champion. Pretty obvious. I mean, to be honest, all 3 picks are perfectly respectable, but True Silver Champion is definitely the best of those picks. 3rd Consecration comes up here, pick 16. So, you know, this deck's already beginning to take a lot of shape. We get a Shattered Sun Cleric in pack 17, and then we also get one in pack 18 as well. Obviously, if Shattered Sun Cleric was in its old format where it was a 3/3, this would now be looking at I would now be looking way towards 12-0. Pick up an Ogre Mage. Again, I certainly don't want a Magma Rager or a Southsea deck, and I like Ogre Mage. I know that Ribbo's sort of recently come round to it, but to be honest, I've always been a fan of it. It's a 4/4 for 4, which isn't exactly bad. I mean, obviously he's not a Chillwind Yeti, but you know, what is aside from a Chillwind Yeti or a Water Elemental? And the spell damage +1, especially since I've already picked up 3 Consecrates, it's like that could be pretty serious business in this draft. Nice Juggler, yep, pretty standard, really good with Paladin. And we finally get an Argent Protector at 21, better than both of these cards. I was tempted a little bit by the Silence for sure, but you know, Argent Protector is pretty much the nuts when it comes to Paladin. Consecrate number 4. You know, what can you do when you're presented with 2 other cards? Believe me, there was a temptation to pass Consecrate on if there had been other good cards in the pack, there would have been a bit of a temptation to pass Consecrate because you can overload, I think, on removal. Certainly in Hearthstone, we had this bit of a discussion where, you know, if you end up below 20 creatures, then you can seriously run the risk of just running out of gas and not being able to kill your opponent. Picked up Hammer of Wrath here. Ogre Mage is definitely an option here. Argent Squire, because I've got the Blood Knight to non-divine shields, I think that's a little bit wombo-combo-y, to tell you the truth. I think Hammer's just the more standard card. Pick up a flesh-eating ghoul here again. Works quite decently in Paladin. Your ability to just crank 1/1s out, consecrate, sweeping, playing this and then consecrating if your opponent can't kill it can put you in a pretty decent situation. And I think it's just better than Crocolisk and Magma Rager. Pick up another Harvest Golem. And I get a Stormwind Champion late, which is obviously really good. I think it's slightly better than Guardian of Kings. I mean, both of them are fine, but I think Stormwind Champion is just a bit better. Again, Pally has the ability to swarm out, so you can just do a load of damage from nowhere. 2 unplayables and an almost unplayable. I mean, Stormpike Commando is probably sort of average to slightly below average, but these two are just terrible, so I just ended up picking it up. Another Hammer of Wrath over an Iron Fur Grizzly and a Fen Creeper. I was a little bit worried about my creature count here. Maybe the Grizzly's a little bit better there. You know, Taunt Guy can't be too bad, right? Second Hammer's probably not where I want to be. And I actually end up taking a 3rd Hammer over a 5th Consecrate. Now, this is one pick that I really want you guys to come back to me on, because one thing I was worried about was just my ability to kill things which had big toughness, and Hammer kind of helps you with that. Also in the late game you can just throw it and cycle, similar to like you would with a Gnomish Inventor, but slightly, I think, pretty much better. But yeah, as you can see, this was a pretty psycho draw. And I actually get an option to pick up a 2nd Blood Knight, but I decide I don't quite have enough Divine Shield for that, so I take a Lay on Hands. Okay, so we're into game 1 and I'm up against a Warlock. Now, obviously my mulliganing decisions are going to come under scrutiny as well. I think that this hand's fine. The Crocolisk is a bit of an odd one here because it does have early game survivability, but the slight problem with that is that it also can't deal with other 2/3s. So, for example, the Berserker is going to be a major problem for me. And I think when my Warlock opponent here makes Blood Imp, I think that I make a mistake turn 1 already. My play here was to coin into the Crocolisk, and that was my idea, was to coin into the Crocolisk and then shield it. Now, the thing is, no matter what 2-drop he makes here, it's going to be, you know, unless it's a Loot Hoarder or something like that, it's going to have 3 toughness. And because of that, the shield just really isn't going to do a huge amount here. I've still got no option to do it. I've got to put the shield on the Crocolisk and attack, and at least put my opponent on a and at least make it so my opponent only has a 1 toughness minion that he's probably going to exchange for my Argent Protector and leave my 2/3 in play. But either way, I think I probably could have played this a lot slower. I think that coining out that 2/3 turn 1 was definitely a mistake. I could have done quite a few things differently, like if I'd have just played it just played the 2/3 turn 2. Yeah, you'll have to get used to my opponent just saying well played all the time in this one. I could have done something like make the 2/3 turn 2 and then either coin into Hammer or coin into Sen'jin Shieldmaster, or make Shattersun Cleric. All these things just seem better than the play I've pretty much been, forced to do by taking a bad line on turn 1, and that's something that, you know, you sometimes have to analyze multiple turns, and you can often say, oh well, you know, this happened on my opponent made a Ragnaros and got lucky with it. Well, it's like, could you have had him in a worse position? And I've definitely misplayed here on turn 1, and so, you know, can't get much worse. I've already misplayed, and it was the very first turn of the arena, so let's just see what my opponent does here. I do apologise if my opponent's going slowly, but what you gonna do? It took him a while to shadow bolt my guy there, not too sure what he was thinking about, and he goes in with the 2/1, which I could say is a tiny bit greedy. I mean, flesh-eating ghoul, just flesh-eating ghoul and trade here seems pretty standard. I end up with a 4/3, he has nothing. And I've also got Shattersun Cleric and Shieldmaster and Hammer of Wrath, so I'm feeling pretty good about the board situation here. If I peel a Consecration, it's going to rip up that Blood Imp, so I'm not too concerned about it. Mechanic, that seems alright to me. I think my play here is to bust up the Dragonling mechanic and then make Shieldmaster. I don't really think using my hammer at this point is a really good idea, and I don't think Shattersun Cleric's a great idea either, so let's take down his guy and make the Shieldmaster. Keep trying to develop my board position. The other thing is that I do also have heals in my deck as well. I mean, not many, but I do have some, so if I can heal up the Flesh-Eating Ghoul, that's quite good. The one thing I didn't get for this draft, or this arena, was Ancient Brewmaster, which I think would have been amazing, but oh well. Oh, a couple of options here. Really depends what his Blood Imp does. Oh, he makes Flame Imp. Okay, well, let's see what his Blood Imp does. Makes his guy 2/3. Okay, so what are my options here? I think I just kill his Dragonling mechanic.
We must cleanse the Sunwell.
Yep. Kill his Dragonling mechanic. The other option there was to headbutt his Dragonling mechanic with the Shieldmaster, then trade the Flesh-Eating Ghoul for the Flame Imp, and then hammer the Spellbreaker, which I think was probably might have been a little bit better. I think that's definitely a play I would have made in hindsight. It's interesting looking back on the games, because this is where I'm, you know, this is a situation where I'm looking back on this draft and going, well, I felt I played okay, and you can always, you know, you can always improve on certain points in your game. And I honestly think that, you know, a lot of players, and this goes for poker, goes for Magic, goes for just about every single form of gaming there is. If most players are going to, nice draw. Most players are going to analyze their losses a lot more than their wins. It's just a natural, you know, it is just simply a natural reaction from most players that when they win, they feel like they have done well. You know, why would you change anything? You won. Well, you can play badly and win. I mean, you will notice that, you know, this deck that I've got here is just simply a very powerful deck. What's the, you know, there's no real big secret about it. This deck's really good, you know, so I'm going to get away with things that I wouldn't normally get away with. Now, my opponent on 23 here, a couple of options. I can slam my 2/2 into his Enraged Worgen, but I think the best play here for me is just to pretty much put him on dead and just freeze his Worgen, and then next turn all I need to do is 10, and then I've got Hammer up. So let's see what he's got for us. Okay, Argent Commander's obviously fine. Ooh, 6/2. That's obviously fine too. But speaking of obviously fine, I mean, I could just kill him here anyway. But no greater success than excess, and we're just going to destroy all these guys. And yeah, I think I was just about to realise that I had him dead there without having to use the Consecrate, but hey. So that's round 1, so let's move on to round 2. Okay, so now I'm up against a Shaman. I'm not going to show every round here. I'm just going to show the first few just to show how the deck's going, and then we'll move on to a couple of the more interesting games. I do apologise for not having a webcam up, but unfortunately you will notice that Ribbo's webcam recently improved. That's because it's kind of mine, so therefore I am sort of stuck in still image form, as you can see here, but hopefully we will be sorting that out very shortly. Okay, got a bit of a choice here between Knife Juggler and Pint-Sized Summoner. Because I've got Ogre Mage in hand, I am actually going to make the Pint-Sized Summoner. I just feel like a turn 3 4/4, if my opponent doesn't kill it, is going to be pretty good. Now, of course, he could coin into Wolf Rider, or he could Lightning Bolt it, or something like that. But especially with the Consecration in hand, it just adds various things to my game. Yep, he makes Ooze. So my play here, I'm just going to cast Ogre Mage and ram the Pint-Sized Summoner into the Acidic Swamp Ooze, and I think that this puts me in a really good situation now. Next turn I can follow up either with Consecration, or I can make... don't really think that's worth consecrating. Let's see what we draw off the top. Oh, that's awesome. So, Knife Juggler, Argent Protector it is. Oh, and I even punch him in the face as well. How lucky. Not wasting any damage. Yeah, that's really not what you want to be doing here. So what are the potential things that a Shaman can do to me here? Lightning Storm is definitely one of them. So I'm kind of thinking about what I want to do at this point. I could just cast Crocolisk and Blood Knight, but that leaves me wide open to Lightning Storm. So I actually just decide to kill his Taunt Totem, and then Blessing of Kings my Knife Juggler, and just start really putting pressure on. Because unless he has Hex at this point, which I think he may have used already if he'd have had it, unless he has Hex, he's in very severe trouble now. He's facing down a massive amount of damage. Okay, Pint-Sized Summoner. Unbound Elemental's potentially worrying, but I think I'm just going to make 2 guys and see if I can shoot it, and then we'll see where things go. Again, don't want to leave myself too open to Lightning Storm. Not sure that was a 100% necessary consecration there, but shooting it with the guide just makes things a lot easier. And as you can see here, he's on 2 life on turn 6, so that's GG. And as I said, I was pretty worried about how fast the deck was going to win, but it actually turns out that those fears weren't really justified. So let's move on to one of the more interesting games. Actually, sod that. We're going to do round 3 here because it's again a pretty decent show of why you don't send a priest to do anything in Hearthstone. Sorry, that's being a little bit facetious, but it is a case of why faffing around is not how you get on in this game. I did end up facing a priest a little bit later after this one who had a much more worrisome deck for me, but you know, this is one of the reasons why priest has the worst win rate of anyone in Hearthstone. At least during January it did, apparently. But it's not just the fact that the priest deck is slow, it's also the fact that it has probably the worst ability. Although healing's not terrible, but you do need things to go your way. And also it's the fact that you can't... well, thank you very much for your heal, sir. But, you know, we're now on to... on my turn 2 here, and unless he has Shadow Word Pain or a health guy or something like that, I'm going to be casting a Shield Master next turn with a Summoner, and I'm nutting him for 4 as well. So I've already got really good board position here. The Priest Sweeper's Holy Light, so therefore I have to be a little bit careful about that. If he has it, he has it. I'm still going to put my guys out there early and see what he's got. Emperor Cobra could definitely be a thing, but again, my pint-sized summoner lived, so therefore my opponent's usually going to experience problems with that. The other option I had there was casting the Fairy Dragon for 1 mana and making a dude off my Paladin, which would have made 2 guys, which would have made it a lot more likely that I hit his... make it a lot more likely that I hit his dude. So I can kill it, his Emperor Cobra, but so that may have been superior, but I think I just wanted a guy out there that wasn't going to get wiped by Holy Light, because I could always just trade my Knife Juggler for the Emperor Cobra if worse came to worse there. Which would have left me with the pint-sized summoner in play anyway. But again, this is the second creature my opponent's cast, and it's Azure Drake on turn 4 or something. Wow. Okay, shall we try and get lucky again with our Knife Juggler? This is why Knife Juggler's a complete BS card, by the way.
Not on my watch.
Again, I'm still not that open to Holy Light because I have, you know, these. I think I would have much preferred to make a dude off my Paladin there because I am, again, leaving myself, you know, I'm pretty open to Holy Light here. And that's the only thing that's going to stop me winning this game, so leaving myself open to it's really not that clever, especially when a dude off the Paladin would have made just as much. I think I was probably a little bit more concerned about just getting lethal damage on the board, because that's 3, 5, 7, 10, 13 on the board now, so with the Consecrate that's actually a heal, but you can see me making a motion over the Paladin there, just to... say, yeah, probably should have made the Pally token. What are you doing? Yep, you're dead. Okay, so again, you know, making one guy turn at really slow pace, and it's just simply not good enough. And you can't see me counting on my fingers here, so you can assume that I did the maths in my head. Yeah, I really did, honestly. So I guess making the Fairy Dragon was better just for the sake of actually ending the game, but yeah. Priest just faffed around way too much there and ended up dying on turn 6 because of it. Well, this is my first experience playing against a rogue here with Paladin, and I think I decided to throw back the Infiltrator as well here. It's not spectacular against Rogue, it's up against Betrayal and you know, the fact that it's useless after the first turn, but you can also see I got a very, very mediocre hand back, so I'm already sort of chalking this down as a potential loss, because there's no way that I can... well, I'm definitely chalking this down as a potential loss now. There's absolutely... maybe not. I just throw the Summoner out there. I actually think I may have just been better making a dude off the Paladin. He's going to trade his 2-1 for the 2-2 anyway. So I think just making the dude off the Paladin's for the best here. Either way, I think it's probably going to soak up some damage. Although I suppose he just makes his dude and attacks with it. So yeah, making the Summoner's probably fine at that point. Soaks up some damage. Yikes, this isn't good. Okay, make a guy and pray. It's pretty obvious. The problem is at this point, it's pretty obvious as long as he doesn't overcommit into Consecration that it's going to be very hard for me to get back into this game. My hand's just way too expensive. Fortunately, Harvest Golem isn't exactly the, you know, it isn't exactly the heaviest of threats for me. And Shieldmaster's an awesome top deck there, and that should at least hold things together a little bit. Let's see what he's got for me. Oh, a shield master of his own. Is he going to attack or is he going to leave it? I think leaving it for him's fine here, otherwise I just end up getting way too good a trade out of everything. Yeah, seems fine to me. How lucky! Blessing of Kings. Well, when you get a really bad draw first up, you can always just go top deck, top deck. Again, still in the position here where he has to trade both of his guys and do something in order to get rid of my guy. He could obviously have Assassinate up. I think he might have coined into it last turn to try and keep the pressure on if he actually had it. Instead he has Silence, which is a bit awkward. And then he shivs it to draw a card, and I'm not too sure if he's going to trade his entire board for it at this point. I'm really not sure I like that play. He really did put a lot of effort into killing that guy. Now, again, I can make Frost Elemental here. But I decided to burn one of my Consecrations just to try and at least get some of the... I mean, I'm not getting too much of the tempo back because at the end of the day I've still just got a 1-1 on the board. However, because my hand deals with most creatures really well at this point, I just want to get into a situation where I'm sort of at parity. Yeah, making bad cards. Couple of options here, but I think I just go straight for Hammer of Wrath. Now, this is one thing that I would say. I know that Ribbo and... I mean, I could get really greedy and Divine Shield my 1-1 here, but I think there's really no need for that. I should just make a 1-1. I know that Ribbo and I are really, really up on sort of playing at a decent speed. However, when you're in a situation definitely like I am, and like many of you may be, take a little bit of time over your turn because there might just be a better play out there. Assassin's Blade is obviously a little bit worrying, but I'll be okay if he just keeps using it to kill my little dorks. So, options here. I could make Stormwind Champion. I could also go Frost Elemental Argent Protector. Frosty's fine, it holds his weapon down for a bit. I'm not too convinced I want to use Argent Protector at this point. I think that might be a little bit... Yeah, I'm really not convinced at doing that. I would rather use Argent Protector... you know, I would rather use Argent Protector offensively rather than defensively, because here if he has a Silence or a Assassinate, then my Argent Protector's just done nothing. So again, I sort of really didn't time that well. I could have timed it a lot better. He nuts my Argent Protector, which is cool. And he does in fact have sap, so my Argent Protector didn't really do a lot there. And it could have been an awful lot better than it was. Oh cool, I've got a sap out of him and I get to freeze him again next turn, which is also fine. You know, I have no objections to this, but... I'm on 9 mana. Ogre Mage, wow, the top of my deck's really good to me in this game. So, yeah, I guess Ogre Mage and flash out the 3-point Consecrate. So, again, really just using Consecrates as sort of 2-for-1s here. Because I've got so many of them, I don't really need to get sort of the 3 or 4 or 5-for-1 Consecration. I just need to use them as a decent card. Okay, went straight for me and not the Magi. A little bit odd for me. More hammers. And they're powerful hammers at this point as well. What am I looking to do here? I think Knife Juggler Frosty, trying to get really lucky. Yeah, maybe trying to get a little bit too much there. How about a Paladin guy? Am I going to shoot the Leper Gnome? No. I mean, to be fair, Knife Juggler was pretty good to me the other couple of games I've had. The one thing that I am not paying attention to here, which I really should pay attention to, is positioning. I think I sort of have half got it right. You know, I've sort of got it right. just by accident, but you know, the rogue has betrayal, as you can see here, and he's going to kill one guy with it. Fortunately, I don't really count the paladin token because he didn't cost me a card. But you know, there was probably that was more luck than, you know, that was more me being lucky than him being you know, than any sort of skill element to it. Fortunately, I only have 2 guys. I really think he should have played that first. You know, why didn't he play that first when he could have actually stolen one of my guys? So I'll just hammer it and, I guess, hammer him for a bit, I suppose. Now again, what can hurt me at this point? Another betrayal would be pretty bad, which is why this positioning on Worgen Infiltrator is terrible. Another betrayal could be really bad for me. Something like an abomination would be really bad for me as well, because I don't have any silences in my deck, so I'd pretty much have to take it. And there is Mr. A-Bomb himself. So at this point I'm feeling a little bit sorry for myself. And he hits me with the rogue. But I suppose, I mean, the only thing I can do here is suck it up and make probably Stormwind Champion and Scarlet Crusader seems fine to me. I mean, I can't do anything. I've just got to accept getting 3 for 1 here. There's nothing I can do about it. Well, there probably was. I could have Shattered Sun Cleric to my 4-2 and then attacked with my 5-1 into it, and my 4-2 would have survived. So, yep, again, we have a separate play, although I would have lost my Shattered Sun Cleric to it as well. So it kind of swings and roundabouts on that front. The only thing that would have done is get me 4 extra damage in. But if my guys survive, I'm going to live anyway. So there you go. There were definitely other plays I could have made there. Certainly superior plays I could have made there. And looks like I've just about got away with it here, and I'm going to advance to the next round. Nice to see that I draw a card before she dies. In Magic the Gathering that wouldn't happen. But still going strong, and I think I even get my Golden Holy Light for this one. Ooh, spare the excitement. You joined me at a rather pivotal turn in the next round against a mage. Now, you'll notice that my hand is full of sort of odd things. First off, I make a mistake here triggering Mirror Entity, so I give him a pint-sized summoner. But really, you can see my hand, and I'm really interested in what you guys would actually do this time. The Raging Worgen is more than likely going to trigger come what may here. The only thing I can maybe do is play Knife Juggler, or play River Crocodile, then play Knife Juggler and pass. But either way, I think that the Worgen's going to eat both of my guys that I play this turn. So I decided to basically make my 2 worst guys, since they're the guys that the Worgen's going to eat. The other option that I kind of have is that I'm praying that my opponent just gets super greedy here. He heads straight for me. My guess is he's going to trade off pint-sized dudes. Again, because we're approaching that fundamental turn where mages start having Flame Strike up, we're obviously a little bit worried about that. Fortunately, 2 of the cards in my hand are pretty much immune to Flame Strike, so I am sort of okay with that. Now, it definitely looks like she has a removal spell of some sort. Maybe a Frostbolt, something like that in hand. Awesome. Card that dies to Frostbolt. Sorry, card that dies to Consecration. So, I mean, my play here is pretty obvious. I just consecrate and play Knife Juggler. I think my opponent got a little bit greedy there. But I mean, to be honest, there's not really a huge amount he could have done there. He wasn't getting too greedy. He could have just traded Worgen off, but either way, he's going to lose his board to Consecration there. As you can see, I'm still behind at the moment. you know, this is a major sort of, you know, this is, I was playing catch up through pretty much all this game. We basically just spent the first few turns, whoops, mistake there, why didn't I make a guy? Again, acting too quickly, take a breath, just, you know, really make sure that you're making the right play rather than doing something daft. Frostbolt? Yep. And to make things even worse here, I think I forget what happens on Guardian of Kings. This is the, you know, this is the game where I just make a complete mess of everything and still get through it because my deck's as powerful as it is. Since he hasn't shown me a sweeper at this point, I decide to Shattered Sun Cleric my 5/1 and Divine Shield it. So now if he has been sandbagging a Flame Strike or something like that, at least my guy survives. Although he doesn't because he just pings it off. And Arcane Missiles does its thing. He pings the 6/2. Fortunately, once again, Mind Control Tech isn't going to get anything. Flesh Eating Ghoul seems pretty good at this point. And yeah, you can see me moving over to click on Frosty. Yeah, Guardian of Kings does not heal random guys. So, yeah, I make a pretty terrible attack there. I'm not too sure what my line was there, to tell you the truth. That was pretty awful. I should have just killed his Mind Control Tech and left my Flesh Eating Ghoul alive, and now I've left myself in real trouble. And this is kind of what happens when you don't concentrate and you just make really bad. Well, you can also just get lucky. And the rest of the game is pretty much going to be me making 1/1s and nomming him down, I think, at this point. I'm just really, really lucky in this game. I'm not going to make any sort of pretensions that I played well in this game. Again, really strong deck, and my opponent didn't really... I mean, I can't understand why he's not... You know, he is... he has 10 mana, 2 cards in hand, and he's not doing anything. And the top of my deck's being really kind to me. Hammer of Wrath's about as good as it gets there for me, and 4 more power on the board. Again, Flame Strike's going to mop me up completely, which I'm pretty convinced he's sandbagging at this point. It's either that or he has like Pyroblast Fireball in his hand or something like that and he doesn't want to use it. Because when he has 2 cards like that in hand, there's really, you know, there's really nothing he can have except removal. And since his Flame Blast does... I mean, what can he possibly have here? This is ridiculous. He has 3 cards in hand and he's not casting any of them. Guess I'll just keep making guys, because that's pretty much all I can do. I mean, maybe he's got like a 2x or something like that, but... Or something which does damage to him. I'm just incredibly confused about what a mage can have 10 mana over, be pretty much dead on board and just not be playing. Yeah, Frostbolt, fine. You're still dead. So... yeah, I mean, answers on a postcard to what that mage actually had in his hand at the end of the game to end up with 3 cards in hand, 10 mana, and not able to play any of it. Really, really strange to me. I've skipped over round 6 because that was pretty much a Paladin mirror and I just had better cards than him. He didn't have Consecrate, apparently. I got all of them. So I'm up against another rogue here, and I always feel like rogues are a pretty nasty matchup for me. I feel like they're outside of Mage. They're probably the class that you have to be the most careful against. And obviously because my positioning awareness isn't great at the moment, and my overall like 100% grasp of the mechanics isn't fantastic at the moment either. I think that there are definite mistakes I make against rogues which can really come back to bite you in the ass. I'm going to make Fairy Dragon first up here. Immune to backstab, immune to eviscerate. So, usually means I'm going to have a guy out on turn... turn 3. You just go straight to the face with the rogue. So, I'm not sure if this is greedy or not, going Shattered Sun Cleric onto the Fairy Dragon and just going for face at this point. I do have the backup Consecration in hand, so he does have to have something really good for me not to be just ploughing through him at this point. Again, what I'm trying to do is get ahead here because I know that rogues like to build up, try and build up an unbeatable board position. The thing that I am worried about is that rogue is one of the classes that really can get tempo back in one turn. And he coins out a Shield Master. I decided to burn a Consecration here. I just really want to get through. Alright, I'm getting 2 for 1 here, but you know, I'm just shoving damage through at this point, and unless she has another really big taunt guy like that, for example, yeah, awkward things are awkward. So now I've got a little bit of a decision on how to proceed. I think I probably should have made... If I'm going to do that, I should probably have made Pint-Sized Summoner there, because if he doesn't kill Pint-Sized Summoner, I have Guardian of Kings up next turn. So, I think if I'm going to play that way, I shouldn't make the Crocolix, I should just make Pint-Sized Summoner. And if he punches Pint-Sized Summoner, then that's fine. Either way, I'm suffering a little bit that neither of the guys I have in play are 3 power, so they're essentially just a free snack for the Sen'jin Shield Master. So, things not going as well as they could, and that's an Assassin's Blade, so things are really not going as well as they could. Yep, takes his free kill, kills the Fairy Dragon as well. Things are not coming up Millhouse. Do I really want to burn another Consecration here? I don't think so. I think what I want to do is just flood the board with guys and then pass. Oh no, apparently I do want to use a Consecration. Answers on a postcard if you guys like that play, or if you don't. When I make the Pint-Sized Summoner, my guess is that both of these guys are going to die. He has a grip full of cards in his hand, and I really feel like this is a bad situation for us now. Doesn't want me to take Candle. Ugh. Jeez, value. I mean, he is on quite low life here, so my job is to just sneak through damage if I can. Decent top deck. I decided to make 2 guys here rather than make the one big one. It's less, less vulnerable to assassinate. Also, the 4/4 is going to take both of his guys with him unless he wants to go on to single figures of life. And alright, Paladin does have Avenging Wrath at Epic, but Paladin isn't really that good at dealing damage. Although, to tell you the truth, if he's on single figures of life against my particular deck, when I have 3 hammers and I also have the 4 consecrates as well, he is in the danger zone pretty badly there. So this is a situation with Rogue where, you can have all the board control in the world, but it costs you quite a lot of life to get there. Let's see what his play is. I'll just start firing catapults while he makes up his mind. Okay, not too sure why that took as long as it did. Yep, punch the Ogre Magi, punch the Harvest Golem, punch the 2/1. So that actually puts him on 10 life, and his Assassin's Blade only has 1 more counter on it here. So, although he's really building up board position, or at least trying to build up board position, he's on low life at this point, and he can't really afford to do too much more punching with those weapons. Do a little bit of a miscalculation there on mana, but I still think that it's fine. And, he's going to Stranglethorn Tiger and kill my guy, probably, but... depends how greedy he wants to get with that Assassin's Blade. Yep, fan of knives and then kill my guy. But this is one of the things about Hearthstone. I'm always going to be top decking something that's going to be able to threaten his life total. And at the end of the day, because I'm at a 3-to-1 life advantage at this point, unless he starts really putting me under pressure, eventually I'm just going to kill him through attrition. So, you know, it's not really... Oh, knife juggler. Let's see if we can... shall we see if we can roll the dice here? Okay, well, I've got a few shots to do it. Well, there goes his divine shield. How about now? Oh, that's pretty much flawless. And Hammer of Wrath showing its worth there, just getting me one card deeper. And yeah, he has to kill the knife juggler with that, otherwise they just make mad trouble. Speaking of mad trouble, oh, you son of a... That never happens. Kills both my guys, really. Okay, well, I'm off the top, so let's see what we can come up with. Pretty good, really, isn't it? Again, another card where I was really confused over what it did. I sort of thought that it... well, let's just make a random punter just to get some damage in. I honestly thought it just said gain 8 life. It doesn't. It's actually a heal. And although what we need healing for 8... Double Assassin's Blade. But he can't really use Assassin's Blade on my guys. So he's... You know, this is all out going to try and punch you as hard as possible before you kill me idea. Farseer? Oh no, Cold Blood. Yeah, he really is in just murder me as fast as possible now. Well, good job got this consecration, I suppose. Shatter Some Cleric's an amazing peel there. Gives me a 3-4, and whammo! Yeah, you see this flesh-eating ghoul? It's going to kill you. Yeah, so again, pretty lucky off the top of my deck there with that lay on hands, but I suppose that's why they're in the deck. Ragnaros might not have been that bad. Oh, don't you dare. Yay! Fail bomber for once. You could have at least punched my flesh-eating ghoul and died with honor. Well, you know, not to be a dick about anything. 7-0. Tough matchup, though, that one. Unfortunately, things are going to come to a little bit of a halt here. I think this might be a greedy keep of the Blood Knight for me here. I really think I should just throw that away. Maybe keep the Shattered Sun. I think that's a bit greedy. I think I was looking for a good coin pull, and yeah. That is not going to cut it against Rogue, I don't think. Especially a Rogue who's at 7-0, because I am pretty sure that, you know, a 7-0 Rogue is going to have all sorts of stuff that I am not going to be able to handle. Now, the issue here is I'm actually going to coin into Harvest Golem. The issue is that my hand is really... It's kind of slow. I can only really play one spell a turn. And because of that... the Rogue can very easily just play 2 or 3 spells really quickly and get me in a situation that I'm really unhappy about. Also, the Rogue's just going completely for my face here, which I think is fine. Again, I might get a little greedy here. What I think I should do instead of playing the Shattered Sun Cleric here, just play the Blood Knight as a 3-3 and punch his Loot Hoarder. I'm giving away a little bit of damage doing that. I suppose that by using my Shattered Sun Cleric, I mean that my Harvest Golem doesn't die to his dagger. But if he's going to use his dagger and then I get a guy out of it anyway, and then get to punch him back, I think that probably making the Blood Knight there is better. I suppose saving it is alright if you feel like you can back up your... you know, if you feel that you can... use it on your opponent having some divine shielded stuff. But, you know, I'm not a big fan of that, to tell you the truth. Okay, so he uses his knife and then he shivs the Harvest Golem, so... Didn't really use any cards, and now it's our town. Scrub. Again, just want to keep pressure on here. This is a 1-for-1 consecrate, but it does keep me pretty far ahead as far as life totals go. But again, I think that a rogue's going to pretty much explode at this point. My hand's a little bit clunky. That Stormpike Commando really isn't doing anything for me. Because on 5, I imagine he's not going to be making any 2-part guys. I mean, at the absolute worst, he's going to make like a Relentless Rocketeer or something. And this situation pretty much sucks. I am going to be forced to trade my board for that 4/6. But I really can't afford to let him have it, because otherwise he just beats up one of my guys and then he has a deadly poisoned weapon forever if he can deal with the other guy. So I think I just have to kill the Spiteful Smith and just suck it up really here. Don't really think there's too much more I can do there, otherwise he just has a way too powerful weapon in play. So as you can see, I'm getting sort of 2-for-1 fairly standardly here. My consecration was a 1-for-1 because I wanted to get more damage in, which I think probably wasn't optimal the way I played that. Might have been a bit greedy. And you can see he's just slowly but surely getting that tempo off me. I want to present him with a shot where he has to trade his Frost Elemental for one of my guys, and at least I get to cycle a card off the Hammer of Wrath. Oh, and there in fact is the Fire Lord himself, so maybe he'll be able to do something here. But you always get the feeling, or at least I get the feeling when playing Pally, you know when you're behind. And in this situation I just feel like I'm really far behind here, and casting one spell a turn I don't think he's going to do it. Okay, so he manages to kill my Fairy Dragon because of Betrayal. And then he eviscerates my 4/2, so much for whatever plan I had. But at least he's made a nice board that I can consecrate. Oh, so much for that. Well, that sort of put a crimp in all my plans. Do I really have an option here? I think I just make Shieldmaster Blood Knight. I don't really think there's another need to consecrate here. Just make two guys that beat up his guys and see where it goes from there. Seems to be the best play here. Consecrating as a 1-for-1 really doesn't seem to be the way forward. And if he makes his Frost Elemental again, I think I just attack into it and consecrate, and at least then it's a 2-for-2. And I do have Ragnaros sitting here in my hand, hopefully ready to do something, anything. Yep, there's Frosty back again. And he has Sap as well, so... no, just slowly but surely losing that tempo here.
Taste the mana.
Taste the mana. Yeah, that's really not what I was looking to top deck at this point. Raggy isn't going to do me much good, so let's at least try and do something with this Consecrate. And let's make the Shieldmaster again. And again, at this point, it looks like I'm, you know, I really feel like I should be pretty far ahead here. Because I've got, I would say, superior board position. I've got more cards in hand, one of which is a Ragnaros. So I'm just feeling that unless he dumps his hand on this table at this point, now I'm feeling good. Now I'm not feeling so good. So I guess that's the Shieldmaster going down. Okay, well, I guess it's time to make Ragnaros and see what he does. Please hit a creature. Please hit a creature. I could also make Guardian of Kings, I suppose. That was one thing I also could have done. Hit a creature. That isn't a creature. Yeah, his Guardian of Kings better there. I go up to 19 and he has to trade both his guys for it. Yeah, Guardian of Kings feels better there. Unless it... Although, no, he can just straight up race Guardian of Kings, can't he? He just goes for my face pretty much at that point. So I think it's pretty much the same no matter what happens. Yep, so I'm on 3 and wow. Well, Raggy, your time has come. Well, let's try and make things as easy for you as possible. I suppose the only play I've got here is Ogre Mage. I consecrate, so at least then I have one less guy, or he has one less guy on the board. So. Well, Raggy, your time has come. No point in making this Crocolus, but let's do it anyway. Oh, it was online as well. Oh, well, I guess I'm dead. So I'm afraid that I'm down to 7-1. Pretty good game overall, but I just felt like I was always that little bit behind and just couldn't finish the game out at the end. Well, after regaining my manlyhood by slapping a druid around, I'm now 8-1 and up against a mage. Now, 8-1 mage more than likely means multiple sweepers. I figure that this opening hand's okay against them. Scarlet Crusader isn't the best against mage by any stretch. However, I am on the play, so we'll see what happens. Blessing of Kings is obviously quite nice. Plan is to just throw the pint-sized summoner out there and see what happens. That's awkward. I could make the pint-sized summoner anyway, but I'm just going to put the 1-1 out there, I think. Don't really want to lose the 2-1. If he wants to use the entire turn 2 just to kill my 1-1, then that's fine. The old Ardent Squire isn't going to do too much to hurt me. That could hurt me. Whoa. Making all the things, I see. Well, since we're on turn 3, I guess I just make this Harvest Golem and see where things take me at that point. I like Harvest Golem overall, just utter value card, and it's pretty decent against mages because it takes either 2 spells or quite a bit of mana to get rid of. And what you're mainly looking to do against mage is at least try and get them as close to off the top as they can. Try and make them get them to make valueless trades if you potentially can. It's not the easiest thing to do in the world because obviously mages have some really good spells. This isn't one of them, but no, basically just one for nonned himself. But wow, he really is putting everything out there, isn't he? And going straight for face as well. So what does this counter? Ooh, True Silver. Actually, I think what we're just going to do is go for a board. Is go for Consecration here because he's used a lot of cards up at the beginning of this game, and I just felt like at that point things might have gotten a little bit out of hand, especially if he's playing Rush. The general idea for him will probably be to make as many guys as possible, deal as much damage to my face, and then use Pyroblast to kill me. So that's also something that I'm looking out for from a mage deck at 8 wins. We'll just see what he's looking to do.
Bring me steel.
Making a lot of bad cards, that's what he's doing. Certainly for a deck that's at 8 wins, which again makes me think, yeah, we're probably looking at Pyroblast here, but how lucky! Stormwind champion. Kill your swordsmith, hit you. And of course that puts all my guys out of range of his Fire Blast as well, so Unfortunately for me, I think that my Stormwind champion... Oh no, Cone of Cold. And instead of killing one of my guys, what does he do? He shoots a Stormwind champion. So, obviously, what should be going off in your head at this point? Yeah, Flame Strike. Should be what you're most worried about at this point. So, because of that, I'm going to put Blessing of Kings on my Stormwind champion so that it survives Flame Strike. And just make this 2-2. Go ahead and Flame Strike if you have it, sir. If you don't have it, might I suggest you're in trouble. Okay, I was expecting Polymorph there, but Faceless Manipulator is also a problem. Not that big a problem, though. I have this Frost Elemental. You know, 24 isn't a lot when there's a 10-8 Stormwind champion on the table. I felt so clever playing round Flame Strike at this point, and the probable fact is he more than likely doesn't have it. But I felt like at least, you know, pretty pumped up that I actually read the situation there. Although the fact he then went and Faceless Manipulated my Stormwind champion made me feel a little bit worse. Well, let's see what you got there. Flame Strike won't do it, by the way. Yeah, that's not bad. Yeah, you're not gonna live by doing that.
Well played.
Well, I guess that's GG then. So overall, I felt like that was you know, fairly quick play. Played a little bit around Flame Strike, but I mean my opponent repped it pretty hard there, so you know I felt like it was best to play around it, but. Maybe he was just trying to get my guy in range of his Argent Commander. We will never know. I was going to say that we weren't going to go into every single game here, but this next game contains the biggest amount of BS that I have actually ever seen in a game. And so just for the hilarity, I'm going to show you this. I mean, also because it's a pretty cool game as well. Okay, because I can make a guy, I'm pretty much always going to coin out Knife Juggler on turn 1 as a pally. Obviously what I'm looking for him to do here is totem up. Zibomba! Well, obviously he doesn't hit him, but at least he didn't kill the Knife Juggler. Am I going to waste damage? Yep. It's unfortunate. Still, I'm going to make him kill one of my guys. I think the attacking him's fine there. He's obviously going to trade for the Knife Juggler, so at least this way I get a free 3 damage in. I think it's just Harvest Golem hit him for 1 here. That could get worrying, but with Shatter Sun Cleric and Consecrate in hand, we'll just have to see how things go. Spell Power Totem, okay, and an Axe. He has Axe for me. That's fine. I guess we just board wipe here. I can't really let the elemental survive another turn, because if it does and it gets to another power and toughness, I'm just in a world of hurt at that point. Oh dear. I don't appear to have a way to kill that.
We must cleanse the Sunwell.
I mean, that's a little bit of a greedy way. I could also have made Shieldmaster, because Shieldmaster doesn't die to Lightning Storm. Okay, so he has a taunt to go with his Mana Tide Totem. Are we noticing how things are not looking very good at this point? I think Ogre Mage I make a 1-1 and pass. Is that the way we're going to do this? Again, just really hoping that our opponent plays into our second consecrate here. With the old adage, he can't have another one, surely. No, I don't have another one. I have another 3, but that's by the by. Oh boy. Do it, do it, do it, do it. Punch my 4-3 with your shield master. Yes. Now make another really bad guy. Yeah, do that too, and then make a really bad guy. Your board is about to explode. And, well, flesh-eating ghoul first is pretty good as well. And boom! Mmm, tasty. And he's on 14 as well. Now then. Let's see what he's up to this time. Knife Juggler. Organ Infiltrator, what are you going to hit? Okay. Mad Bomber, what are you going to hit? Yeah, that. No, no, stop it. Oh my god, stop it. Oh my god, really? You like never hit me, you just hit all my guys? Well then, 9. I think this is a mistake. Yeah, that is a huge mistake. I should just shoot his Knife Juggler. Well, maybe not. I think the Taunt guy is also fine because the 9 power guy is the way I'm going to win this pretty much.
I've got the beast in my...
Yes. What else are you going to... Yes, shoot my guy. Why not? Never shoot me. Yes, shoot my guy again. That's now, what, 6 shots without actually hitting me with a Knife Juggler or a Mad Bomber? Pretty good. So yeah, at this point, my keyboard... I have played poker and online games for sort of 10 years now. I've never smashed a keyboard. So, you know, the temptation was definitely there when that sort of crap started happening. Choices. I think I have to kill his guys here. I can't just hang around and I can't just lay on hands because at the moment I'm still, you know, I still have him in a fairly worrying situation for him. And I just have to keep committing guys to the board at this point. And if he manages to deal with all of this, obviously I'm going to lay on hands. Nice top decks there. Spell power totem plus... Okie dokie, I guess I'm going to lay on... Wow. Guess I lay on hands. Now let's draw some cards and see what we've got. Consecration's good. I mean, Blood Knight's also okay, but I think that the Divine Shield is going to fall off my guy this turn because my #1 priority is knocking down those Taunt Totems. I think I'll leave the 2-1 at home because some of the damage will just end up getting healed, so there's really no point in doing anything on that side. Yep, another totem. Spell power 1-2. Not that he needs spell power. Another guy. Yep. Ow. 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 You're really leaving a guy alive? Well... I think #3 is in your future.
The battle.
Yep, kill that, kill that. And I guess Frosty. So despite your miracle ways with Knife Juggler, 3 Consecrates is still pretty ridiculous. Yep, no Taunt Totem, and GG. 10-1 it is. You join me at awkward dot moment at this point. You will notice that the mage has a pretty decent start in this game, and I really don't have a good option. I end up coining into Scarlet Crusader, which I'm pretty sure is not the best option I could have done. I mean, I don't think it's terrible, but you know, I am really interested in what you guys might think about how you'd like to approach this situation. I find that if a mage comes out quickly against you, that's a really different proposition than if a mage comes out slowly against you. And on this occasion, this mage was actually able to just keep the pressure up long enough, and I wasn't able to really get back in the game here. Again, I can make truce. I can't coin into true silver here. Maybe better off making a naked cleric there, so at least I can threaten to kill the mana worm. I suppose that my upshot of that was that I had both true silver and hammer of wrath in hand. Yeah, not convinced about much of this play, to tell you the truth. Some of it, sure, but not all of it. This is definitely a situation where I was put in a very, very I mean, it's an uncomfortable situation for sure, but it's also a unfamiliar situation where there's an awful lot going on. I'm surprised that mana worm hasn't grown yet. I'd have figured that a frostbolt would have been following it, because let's face it, we're playing against a mage. So really, you know, the mage hasn't put me under that much pressure, but it has made things a little bit difficult. You know, I'm just not getting... He's made a ton of creatures where I can't get much value off my true silver champion. I mean, I suppose I can beat up his... Again, just no real good attacks here. Or at least no real way I'm going to get good value. Now, I'm guessing... I mean, I think I was a little bit too eager to attack with my true silver here. I think the best option would have just been to make two guys and pass. There's no real need for me to just go bludgeoning in there with the true silver champion when there's no real... You know, no real need for it. Yeah, I think this is a really poor attack, and you know that's going to come back to haunt me, because I pretty much wasted a true silver there. I mean, alright, I make 2-3 power guys here, which isn't the worst, but it's not the best either. So I think that this is a pretty classic case of me not getting the absolute best out of my cards. I'm trying to sort of play into Consecration, but I don't think that that's the best way that I can do this, because the Mage's sweepers are just so much more powerful, and I just don't think this is going to work for me. And as you can see, alongside his army of water elementals and various other guys, water elementals so ridiculously good. Again, not getting the max value out of Blessing of Kings, because I literally just have to throw it on there in the hopes of getting a decently sized guy out there to keep me alive. Hopefully I can draw into lay on hands and refill my hand a little bit, but sadly I don't think that that's going to be what happens here. Once our mage buddy decides what he's going to do. Yep, Arcane Golem, Sorcerer's Apprentice. Just bad news all round. I think he's just going straight for my face. Yep. I am frozen, and even Consecration isn't enough to get me back into this. So, I am afraid that that is going to leave me at 10-2, and I'm going to be, I think, up against a mage again next round. So... things not going so well at that point, and really that game for me was just all about not getting value from my cards, and my opponent was able to get value from his. So you're at 10-2 and you've just lost to a mage. So what do you want to face? Another mage! And you want to draw all fours in your opening hand. Of course you do. And what's better than all fours in your opening hand? 2 4s and a 7. That's what's better. So at this point I was, let's just say the keyboard was getting closer to going out of the window.
Hello.
Probably followed by the monitor.
Well met.
So, with what I've got here, let's just see what old Magey girl has. Oh dear, she's got a 1-drop, so I suppose that pretty much has me dead, right? Let's just try and slow down the beats as possible, make the mage use the Fire Blast to kill it. Oh, going straight for face, which seems fine against Pally because Pally doesn't have any really good ways to deal with it. That was fortunate. So we've got a little bit of a defensive barrier up now, so let's see how things go.
For the crusade!
But yeah, facing a mage at this point, just knowing what I'm up against, it's just, ugh. Beat up the 2-1, I guess. Oh no, let's... Yeah, just punch that. And... I really don't want to use any of the cards that are in my hand. I mean, I suppose I could Shatter Sun Cleric, but... he just kills my Harvest Golem anyway, so yeah, I think I just make a small guy. I don't think there's any advantage to playing any of the cards in my hand. You, Water Elemental. Oh wow, he's going straight for face. You know what this means? The favourite card from Caravel Gaming, and if you watched our podcast, you know what we're talking about. Pyroblast. So yeah, we are pretty much up against Pyroblast in this match. I am 100% sure that this is a Pyroblast deck, and it's also probably why it's at 10 and 2. I mean, I guess he could have gone straight for face again there, but 6 power guy is a little bit frightening. And another water elemental. Well, he could just be like mono water elementals. That's also good, right?
We must cleanse the
I'll
Sunwell.
put enough power on the board to kill it, I suppose. Water elemental's just always a 2-for-1. Always a 2-for-1. Especially when you combine it with the mage ability. Oh, jeez, we are going straight for face. This is, you know, all the stealth guys in the world. Everything else, welcome to you actually start at 20, not 30. Well, let's protect my dudes. Yep, flesh-eating ghoul and smack. Well, I guess it's race time because that's the only thing I can do now. But I do have 14 points worth of healing in my hands, so if I can keep myself alive, the mage might just put herself into too bad of a board position for her to win. Maybe. Sort of. Fingers rather crossed at this point. Or she could have that. That's also a thing. Frustration index meter rising. Okay, so I'm now on 13, so I can't lay on hands because that just doesn't do anything as far as the clock goes, so let's just do what we can. Plan next turn is probably to lay on hands, but I'm feeling really bad about the situation that I'm in now. It's a secret. Wow, big fat monsters. Yep, straight for face. Ugh. Yep, let's bait out the old mirror entity first. Punch his tiger and freeze his venture co. That venture co is not allowed to attack me. Oh, there goes my guardian. It's like how to know when things are going badly. Uh-oh. I can't... Yeah, let's lay on hands. Wow, Ardent Protector, that's a really, really top quality draw. Hey, I guess I just punch his Venture Co. Is that all I can do here? Yeah, pretty sure that's all I can do. Now obviously he can deal me another 5 damage this coming turn, which again is going to put me in Pyroblast range fairly quickly, and I've got to do 27 to him at some point. Yep. Here we go. What's next? Golem.
Let the pain speak to me. Don't mess with
Wow. The board is full. Come on, one time. No. But I have this Ogre Magi, and I have this Consecration. And punches 2-1 just so he can't go to my face. And yeah, it's all about dumping power onto the board now. If he has another Flame Strike, that's GG, but I'm doing all I can now.
attend me. Ready, sir. Glory to the Sindori.
Okay guys, how do you attack in this circumstance? I'm not sure I get this right. I think the goal of this turn is to kill all these guys and play Ragnaros. That's got to be the goal of this turn. So I think the attack is 3-2 into 3-3, 4-4 into 2-2, and 5-5 into 4-4. But I make a bit of a meal of this, and I'm not too convinced why I'm making such a meal of it. It's really not that complicated. I think I'm trying to play around the Mage ability, but I just really cannot do that. So this literally is just a case of like punch all his guys. Now, yep, my consecrate, and yeah, I did not realize my consecration is powered up at this point, which is, you know, stupid of me. Let's face it. So the correct play here is probably consecrate. For 3, run the Fairy Dragon into his Silverhand Knight, play all the rest of my guys. But yeah, once the thing came in, I just ended up panicking, and I mean, it's not like making Ragnaros is bad, right? Okay then, let's see if you've got it. And he can't have it because he's because he doesn't have the mana. And second Flame Strike, that's awkward. Well, there's nothing I can do now. So, if he has it, he has it. Yeah, I've played around it as much as I possibly can. I think I was a bit daft with the last turn. I think that I could have done a lot better than I did. Maybe with the Consecrate would have left me not as vulnerable to Flame Strike, but then I wouldn't have had Ragnaros on the table. Well, I mean, if he does have it, he's slow rolling me. You know, slow rolling is what scumbags do. Oh, come on. You can see my mouse heading towards concede. Yeah, I'm not going to concede. You're going to have to do it. And it's a fireball to his own face. So he faked me out a little bit there. Little bit of mind games, but I got that 11th win in there. And pretty tight game overall. And only really that last turn where I feel like I ended up rushed and making a bad decision. So let me know what you guys think on that front. Unfortunately, things don't end so well for our hero, as I end up against a hunter on 11 wins, in other words a really good one, and he makes pretty short work of me. So, a 11-3 with this Paladin deck, which I think that, like, guarding some, like, really miserable luck, I think, like, 9 or 10 wins was the absolute minimum this deck should have done. And I was really hoping for 12, but unfortunately didn't quite happen this time. Still, being a Caravel Gaming video, let's have a look at our prizes, and they're probably going to be awful. I mean, I was expecting around 300 gold for 11 wins. Yeah, 90 dust, golden light spawn. Yeah. Well, let's see what's in the pack. I mean, I've opened a couple of golden epics and a golden legendary, so this can't be too bad. Oh, rare right off the back. What is it? Like that, is it? You're going to do this to me on my first video, are you? Yep, apparently you are. Anyway, guys, that's my first solo run for Hearthstone. I really hope that you've enjoyed the format of this, looking back onto a draft. And please leave any feedback that you want to in the comments. I will read and respond to as much as possible. Remember, this is an experimental format. If you want to see more of it, just let us know. I feel like this is better than me just producing live videos, because then I'm just going to end up clashing with Ribbo. But look out for all our other content that's going to be coming out from myself, Ribbo, Lee and Maddy. And this is Boomer for Caravel Gaming, and thanks very much for watching.